Epos lives up to the hype in the first match of round one. Binks with a little bit of work to do, but we have no time to talk about it. Babs doesn't have time to flame Coco for hyping Binks too much. We just got to move on. For our second match, our second round of Division 1, which should equally be pretty exciting. We're going to stick with Ender, who I think surprisingly good. I don't want to say that, that sounds bad, but second place in that last match. Very impressive. Joining him, Whizzy, Marsli, and Pusztitopako. And I do want to focus in a little bit on Pusztitopako, Coco, because he struggled in his first match of the evening.
Yeah, he actually finished third of his first match, and coming from a fantastic performance on the World Cup, I would expect Pusztitopako to absolutely demolish any opponent he has, except from Epos, Elcon, and stuff like that. But I would have put him like easily in the top 4 of the players, as his sitting position was 4th. But yeah, he finished actually third on his first match of the season. He has to pick it up to perform way better. And yeah, facing Ender, Marsli, and Whizzy now, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be really difficult for any of these players. I think Whizzy showed that he had good pace in his last match, obviously being edged out by Boz. But what's actually interesting about that match that happened was Megorion actually won that, but Neil, who picked up was it second or third, actually got three.
Second place,
got three match records, which means that he gets the 3 extra points from that and actually comes out of the match with more points than Megorion does and puts himself in 4th place.
All right.
Yeah. It's interesting to highlight, Babs. You're absolutely right, because those match records, they're going to make a difference in the standing. There they are, already making a difference. So Neil looking pretty solid after that one, and definitely going to be interesting to see how things go out of that. Up at the top, we have 3 players who won their match and got 3 match records: Epos, Elcon, and Bozbez. So Epos, I think, absolutely right to highlight that maybe those 2 are feeling like the stiffest competition heading out of week 1. But we'll see how things fall after this match, because I think it's time we head on in to a quick prediction for this match. And I'm going to come to you first, Babs. You said, maybe Whizzy a little bit low seeded compared to where we'd hope he'd end up later on in the competition, but are you thinking that maybe he does well? I'm personally looking at Ender and saying he had a great match in the last one.
Yeah, I think Ender did have a really great match. I think it was a case of some people getting lucky and having their good rounds when they wanted them, and some people having bad rounds when they really didn't want to have a bad round. Having said that, I think looking at I was following the other matches during that same time, and I think Whizzy seemed to put up a good performance against Boz, so I think I'm going to back him in this one.
Okay, Coco, you thinking the same thing as we head into picking bands here?
I'm going for Pusztitopako. I think he's gonna step up his game when it matters the most, and yeah, we can go straight to the picking bands.
Yeah, and see how things go. Paco does have the pick ban for this one, so Whizzy, despite having a solid performance in the last match, not quite able to do well enough to edge out Pusztitopako, and so we'll get to see what the first ban is going to be. We've seen Perseverance a couple of times tonight already. We have also seen Galafu banned, but it will be another Perseverance ban coming through, Coco.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't shock me. Puszti doesn't suit well from Perseverance. I do think it's his worst map, and it's the hardest map. So I do think to pick up confidence back, he doesn't want to play this. And yeah, I think going on Galifer, he was expecting Whizzy to pick this map, and maybe we're starting the match strong. And going on Meltdown second, Ruby third from Marsli, and the last map would be Miata.
Babs.
It's actually quite interesting, yeah, that Meltdown is picked by Ender, despite having the slowest PB of all 4 players.
Meltdown is being picked so early every time. That's what I wanted to say to you. It's crazy to me in some ways, because it is the map that feels the most inconsistent for a lot of players a lot of the time. It really is up and down, round times, round finishes. Is there an element to that you think is kind of just players are like, well, I'm not sure how comfortable I feel in this match, but I have a high pick, and so I'm just going to throw it in early?
Well, yeah, I think...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
A lot of players have highlighted it, and even Coco was saying it to me whilst we were off air, that a map is different in TA compared to rounds, and it plays very differently. So Ender might have the slowest PB, but might feel actually I can do good times consistently where I don't think others can. So that might be why he's picking it.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how it does. My eyes are on Ender. I've said it before. Eyes for everyone else, though, are across the board. And if that doesn't sum Div 1 up, if we didn't have 3 different kind of predictions on the desk, what would we even be doing here? We're looking forward to seeing how it goes. Our final match of the first day of the Beacon World League. We're ready to head over to the caster desk for the final time. This time around, taking us through the action, we've got Boney, and we're heading back to see Twiggy again.
Hello again. Hi. Yeah, I think Noah put it really, really well in that, yeah, there's so much to look forward to in this one, despite the fact I don't think it's going to be as close as the first game we saw for Division 1 here. I think it's still going to be a really good time. We've got players that are low-seeded that I think missed out on a higher seed, could have done a lot better, like Whizzy, and we've got players who have shown that they do belong in the top seeds there, like Ender.
Yeah, it's been definitely one of the matches. Looking forward to myself to see where exactly we'll end up.
Am I getting echo? Yeah, no, yeah. I'm hearing you twice as well.
Like,
I think we're fixed.
Yeah. I think all right.
Sounds like we're fixed. Okay, we're all good.
I'm used to hearing myself like on a recording, not like 2 seconds after myself.
Yeah. Just the speech jamming. It's a good start. Yeah, no, yourself, a clone is behind you. The meme of the dude holding up. Either way, I think this is going to be an exciting match. It may not last as long as the last one. We may not get 3 last chances at the same time, but I do think it is going to be an exciting one nonetheless. I do think no matter which way you spin it, any 4 players you can pick out of a hat from Division 1 are going to make for a really good match. So it really shouldn't matter who we get in the server. It should be a good time. This one is important as well. Ender has got, I think, more points than he probably expected to get. Definitely a good amount of points from that first game. Going to be really looking to maximize it in this one.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the players that we have in this match as well, none of them, perhaps have been able to really reach their potential. I mean, Ender, in that sense, has been able to, eke out those 6 points. But when it comes to Whizzy, Marsli, and Pusztitopako, it's not been the best start that they could have had. Obviously, not winning their matches per se, but perhaps with some, different players around them, they'll be able to show off what they are capable of, and perhaps give us some nice close rounds. As we will be kicking things off first on Galifo, and I am a bit disappointed myself that I won't be able to see Perseverance at all during my cast. But hey, I guess that is just the way it's meant to be.
Yeah, it's a shame. Seems like the players don't really rate themselves in terms of consistency on that map, which is understandable. But here we're heading to Galafu first. Whizzy does have the division record on this map and is looking to get another extra point for that one this time around. Let's see how the players shape up here in the first round of this one. So far, Marsli is out ahead.
Yeah, with Galifo being Whizzy's pick, a bit unfortunate for him to find himself in 4th place, getting quite close to the wall there. In fact, a bit too close, does clip and loses speed that he desperately needed to get back to these 3 players at front. With Marsli keeping Ender and Pusztitopako nice and honest, as Ender does get the inside line there for just a tiny little bit, but Marsli seemingly looking to be just very clean, just very comfortable, until I say things a bit too often, and I stumble over my words. It is Marsli who as well finds himself falling down into 3rd place. So Ender looking to pick up a clean 0 points, unless Pusztitopako was able to overtake on this final little jump here.
It is,
close,
Ender that comes out ahead. Not quite getting it done. Whizzy will come home in a 4th place. An unfortunate start, but there's so much time to go. That's only 1/10 of your points. You can keep on going. It's not a good way to start. Ender, though, keeping that momentum from the first series. Not able to quite set the division record here, but is definitely out ahead in terms of times. This time around, a 107.7 is solid. You can definitely build off that as we go on. But I want to see if Whizzy is going to wake up a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a tough start for him. Again, this is his map pick, so, you do expect him to crack at least the top 3 on each and every one of these rounds. For now, he is in 3rd place with Marsli in 4th. But so far, it's the first round. There is some room to actually, get away with a bad round here and there. Yeah. Still, though, look at Pusztitopako and Ender just side by side, keeping Whizzy and Marsli away from a potential 1st place. But what a great round for round number 2 we have in our hands right now.
Yeah, but Ender clips a wall, goes all the way back down into 4th position. That's a pretty massive mistake to be making here. It's not often that you see somebody go down by a second in these rounds. It is basically once in a round experience. And oh no, maybe we're going to see a little bit more of that. Yeah, Pusztitopako clips a wheel and loses a gear out on it as well. So much speed gone. We're going to have to see how that shapes up at the bottom there. But Whizzy isn't quite able to get 1st position. Pako will come home in 2nd. Ender seems to have made a second mistake, fallen back to another 5 seconds behind. And, well, things start to bounce back out again.
Yeah, everybody with that having lost, around the same amount of points. With only 2 rounds behind us, it is interesting to already see, no one really taking a dominant spot per se. And perhaps along the way, we will find ourselves see the players, go down similarly in terms of points and, give us a bit of a dual, triple, perhaps even quad last chance situation. Regardless, though, that is a bit too early right now. We're only on map number 1. We're only just getting things started. Unfortunately, though, Whizzy does fall behind in 4th place with Marsli taking the lead. Ender and Pusztitopako actually quite a bit away. You're going to have to hope for a mistake on Marsli's side to catch back up.
Yeah, this is really looking uncharacteristic from Whizzy so far. Obviously, as we said, he's got the division record, picked this map, really expected to be very good here, very solid at the very least, and now is going to be way further down in last position unless he can get 1st place out of nowhere. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening. Ender looking to build off of what was going on in the 1st round, did fall back after that 2nd one with a 4th place, but can still get this one back. It's only 10 points been lost. It's very close up to the finish line. Has a little more speed, but not able to get that overtake done. Marsli is able to get 1st place there and sets the fastest time in this series so far. Whizzy way back down in 4th, going to be dropping all the way to 76 points.
Yeah, quite painful, but great result from Marsli, as you say, getting that match record. But at the same time as well, right, keeping Ender from that from the 1st place. It was also Ender who had the match record initially, so a bit of a double whammy on Marsli's side, who with that puts himself in quite a nice position in the match. Whizzy though on 76 points, already losing 24 in total, quite fast with only 1 round remaining on his map pick. It's going to be a tough one, fortunately for him, and somewhat unfortunately for Pusztitopako. A mistake from the Hungarian does allow the rest of the players to keep going, and Whizzy perhaps looking for that 1st round win with Marsli now falling behind.
Yeah, Ender looking to take that fastest time back, and if you notice, we're keeping track of it so you don't have to. Those little green dots up at the top, they are the fastest times on each of the maps played in the series. You get an extra point if you finish the series with the fastest time on one of the maps. You get all 4, get 4 points extra. Absolutely massive, and Ender is looking to get this one back. Obviously, they're probably going to be playing this track once again in this series, but it would be nice to end this one out with that fastest track, fastest lap, fastest time, whatever. Either way, Whizzy looking to, if they go fast, they get points. It's all good. Hey. Whizzy in 2nd place this time around, not making a massive mistake and able to keep up. And yes, Ender will take back that fastest time. And very close, actually, to the division record there. Not far behind whatsoever, but either way, very shaky from everyone involved, I would say. Not a ideal performance from anybody in the server. Ender will be quite happy with the way he ended it out, but still a lot of mistakes made.
Yeah, so far a fight between Ender and Marsli. When it comes to the points in particular, they are tied at the moment. And it has shown through the play for this 1st map. Quite disappointing on Pusztitopako and Whizzy just not really being able to keep up, or not even necessarily keep up. It's not a pace issue. It's more a consistency issue that we've seen from both players, just making mistakes that lead to massive time losses. I mean, Whizzy right behind with 8 seconds. There's no like in between, like a slight touch and I'll recover and try to keep going. No, it seems to snowball. So hopefully map number 2 will bring greener pastures to these 2 players, as it is for now Marsli and Ender leading the race.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ender, I think definitely, as Nua mentioned earlier, outperforming what maybe anybody kind of expected, and that's not even saying anything about Ender. That is just, the consistency has been really good over that last series. It was great, able to hold on to 2nd place there. This time around, is doing very well to keeping the series. Look, I think seeding is one way to look at things, but it doesn't tell the full story. We have 2 players up in the top 8 in seeding here, and 2 players right at the bottom of the seeding, and I don't think that really comes into account when we're in Div 1. Everything is so close that I think it's more likely we're going to judge people off of their performances on the maps individually, and Whizzy, that was unfortunate. Picked the map and pretty much ended out worse for wear.
Yeah, this is why I always say, and I say it too often, if you've heard me cast any time, it's all about the performance you set down today, right? Seeding is one thing, and that makes sure you're set up for success in the future to a certain extent, but if you don't bring what you have when it matters most, specifically during the match, then all that work is for naught. As we do kick things off right now on map number 2 with Meltdown, these players are going to have a nice nicey time, if you will. Unfortunately, Ender is going to be a bit late to the party, as Marsli, Pusztitopako, and Whizzy are already making their way to the rink, and perhaps get a few scoops of ice for free, as they want their 360 swirls to be as classy as possible. We'll see Pusztitopako and Whizzy, the first 2 true, as Marsli actually has a bad turn around the pole there, so will find himself in 4th place, allowing Ender to, fortunately for him, get in 3rd place after a bad start.
Yeah, it just keeps going wrong as well. Ender back down there. Whizzy will be looking to gain back some of those points. In fact, both of the players on 72, 14 points down from the top 2 here, are in 1st and 2nd. Oh dear, where did Paco go? Oh dear, it's all going wrong. Has to go for the safe finish, and that might even give Marsli. It's not quite there. Manages to minimize the points lost there, but still for Pusztitopako, that's not going to be a happy time. All the way down now to 66 points. 65 points. I can't do maths. I'm not very good at that. Either way, Whizzy will be very happy with that one.
Definitely, it was a very nice close fight up to the finish, but yeah, unfortunately Pusztitopako just unable to maintain the gear, sliding out, and because of that, a nice 0-pointer, if you will. Yep. This time though, no early mistake from Ender, so we do have a 4-way fight between all 4 players. Does look Whizzy a little bit awkward onto the plastic right there, but keeps it in the lines and makes sure that he keeps up with the competition. Pusztitopako does have the lead, but just by a tiny bit, and we're gonna have a conga line into the ice section.
Yeah, very close. Will Marsli make the same mistakes? Ooh, a bit of a wheel clip there, but it doesn't seem to matter. All good. Still grip those wheels up nicely there on the ice. Whizzy with a little bit less exit speed than Ender and Pusztitopako as they push forward on this one. Ender well out ahead now, just needs to maintain that lead up to the very end, and can extend that lead over in this series so far. It's looking good, just needs to continue performing well enough. Pusztitopako almost hanging a wheel there, but won't slide out this time around. It's looking all good. It's a very close round, all things considered. Half a second between everyone there, but Ender is the one who takes 1st place and the fastest lap in this series. Keeps himself on 82 points.
Yeah, and with that in 1st place as well. Match record going his way, so 2 match records on the board. Overall, good things for Ender, despite a bad start to the map. But what a great round as well from all of these players, because while Ender did pick up the match record right there with a 108.9, everyone else was pretty much within reach. It could have just been one turn slightly more optimal, slightly tighter. It easily could have gone any other way, but it went the way of Ender. This time around, once again, just that start not really going his way, so he's already behind by half a second, and Marsli as well, falling behind on the dirt, hits the wall at the same time on the uphill. It's a bad time for him, but Pusztitopako and Whizzy once again fighting themselves head-to-head on the ice. Who of the 2 will be able to reign supreme this time?
And still has a way into this round now, but it is Pusztitopako and Whizzy that are pushing out ahead, really just trying to maintain those leads and gain back some points in this one. Things have not been going so well for them recently. The lowest 2 players now in this series have been trying to push back on this one, but a couple of mistakes coming on through have really just made life a little bit difficult. Can Whizzy get a good line here on this final jump? Very inside, looking for a quicker turn around that corner, not quite able to get it. Pusztitopako won't quite get the match record there either, but gets first place, minimizes the damage done, and Ender taking third is going to be dropping back down to join the rest of them.
Yeah, and with Pusztitopako actually picking up that round win as well, finding himself from 4th place, getting into a tied 2nd place with Whizzy as well, 61 points for both players. Marsli, though, who had a great start with Galifeu, now in 4th place, but regardless, the point differential between all of these players is not that big just yet, and which gives every one of these players the opportunity for just a couple of good rounds to get back into the race and make sure that their opponents will have to worry about them, which pretty much goes for every one of them. So I'm wondering which one of these will buckle under the pressure if they are able to just drive their own game and make sure that they do what they do best, which is drive track mania, as all 4 of them give us a synchronized ice slide around the pole. And so far nobody really getting away, but it does seem like whenever there's 4 players together, it is Pusztitopako and Ender who are able to get out on top on that ice section.
Yeah, it seems that way, and Pusztitopako has really been out ahead for a lot of this time. If you counted the amount of seconds that each player has been in first place, I would say that Pusztitopako has been in first place for the longest. It just hasn't really resulted in much more than a couple of wins. This time around, getting the fastest time, that one's going to stick until we get to this map next, which we might not even do. That's really good from Pusztitopako. That's going to set a point pretty much in stone there, unless something happens later on in the series. But either way, good for them, and things have stayed very close. About 14 points has been the difference between 1st and 2nd place this whole time. Doesn't seem to be changing.
No, not at all. None of these players seeming to let go of each other, where it did seem like Marsli and Ender were looking set up for success on map number 1. Map number 2, somewhat of the same for Ender, not so much for Marsli, falling behind just a tiny bit, not really able to clutch it out where it matters most. But at the same time, though, Whizzy has been able to get back into the match a lot more. Obviously, with Pusztitopako sliding out on round number 1, allowing himself to get the round win. Outside of that, he has been threatening anyone who has been in first place for pretty much most of these rounds, which is always a good thing to do. Unfortunately, it didn't really pay off in the way that he might have expected, but it does minimize the point loss that he could have. So for now, I think a solid map number 2 will be able to set up properly for map number 3, which is going to be Ruby. So a little bit of red with our nice green car. Look at that car go super duper fast. Some type. I love this music, by the way. I don't know who picked the music.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of just sitting in voice calls, listening to music on repeat until they found the right one. By the way, you can get that skin. You can get that beautiful little skin that you see on your screen. You can contribute to the prize pool and grab that skin. There's a link in chat right now. You contribute more than 10 euros, I believe, and you will be able to get the official skin. And obviously, you're contributing to the prize pool. Win-win is basically how that works. And things are looking good. Shaping up to be a really good season of the Beacon World League for our first, our maiden voyage here on this one. Lowest points here, 49 for Marsli. Highest, 71 for Ender. Things definitely not over yet for any player. And it's all going to come down to each map that they play. Now map 3.
Map number 3, Marsli's pick at the same time as well, so maybe in 4th place, but perhaps this is going to be the redemption for him, where he's going to be able to convert that 4th place into a 1st place, perhaps. Who knows? I don't know if it's actually viable, but hey, a man can dream. That's all I'm going to say. Whizzy, though, messes up that transition onto the dirt, and Ender at the same time, though, not steering as much as he would have liked, trying to go for that nose slide, but just ends up hitting the pole there. So Pusztitopako and Marsli left to fight for 1st place, and for now, it does look like it's going to be Marsli who's going to have to fight for 1st place against Pusztitopako.
Yeah, and Pusztitopako is only 10 points now away from Ender. It looks like he's really looking to close that gap and fight for 1st once again. Didn't have a great start to this series. Made a lot of mistakes despite the fact he was in 1st for a lot of the time. And that just put him way back in the standings. But now, looks to be making things back. 10 points ahead of the other two in the server, 10 points behind Ender, and it's looking to close that gap up. Marsli, again, is going to move on up with a second place. That's a good result. Second place is actually a really nice place to be most of the time here, because you're just not losing as much as the rest of the field. So Marsli is going to be quite happy with that one. Ender drops back down onto level pegging with Pusztitopako, who now has 2 of the top times here in this series, and means that he's going to be ending out with extra points.
Definitely, but 3 rounds do still remain, so it is up to him to either improve that record or keep everybody away from first place, because if there's nobody else driving first place other than him, I mean, who's going to beat us time, really? You know, I don't know. Maybe I didn't pay attention enough in class when we were talking about the time-space continuum, but somehow this seems to make sense to me.
Yeah.
But, I feel like that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
I watched what's the one where they go into space and they land on a different planet and they're like, oh my god, we've aged 80 years. Interstellar, that's the one. Very nice. Yeah, I watched that as well. I know how time works. Sure, Whizzy out in first place this time around. It's been a little while since we've seen Whizzy in first place in this series. Having a bit of a tough series. Back down into last place now, as Marsli had a pretty good round last round. So needs to make those up. Marsli this time around in 10th place is going to lose 10 points in 4th place here if Whizzy stays on this one, and that's going to be a massive... Oh, I thought Whizzy hit the top of the checkpoint. Wow, that would have been interesting. But Whizzy manages to get the record for the series and makes that difference up. Now 9 points ahead of Marsli.
Yeah, I mean, great round though. I mean, it was definitely a hard one for Marsli, just, you know, having a slight little error, but at no point did any other player really show any weakness. It was a tight race up until the finish. With that time though, Whizzy being able to finally get another first place on the board again. Not sure if he's going to be able to make it happen 2 times in a row. It would be very, very beneficial considering the 44 points. Ender though, with a crash, falling out of contention for this round, so a possibility for Pusztitopako to get into first place, and at the same time though, this will allow the rest of the pack in general to get closer to Ender. 7 seconds behind, yeah, that's going to be a guaranteed 10 points less.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless somebody falls off the map, doubt anything is going to go wrong there. So now it is just maximizing that point difference. So for Whizzy and Marsli, really important round here. They want to try and close that gap up and make sure they're right up top with those winners. But for Pusztitopako, can really extend up into the lead here if he manages to get, well, any position actually. But Whizzy pretty much locked into third at this point. Pusztitopako looking to move several points ahead of Ender here by coming in first place. And that is another switch up in the points as Pusztitopako comes first. Not quite able to get the match record there, but does manage to move into first position in the series. Yeah, 54 points in first place. I mean, right now, again, right, this point differential, everybody still quite close together. Marsli and Pusztitopako, a gap of 23 points. That's all right, honestly. You know, if Marsli just gets 1-2 rounds that are solid in, just getting perhaps a win in a second place, could be a totally different world. While he may be in 4th place, there's still everything to play for. And I do think that, I don't know, some players may falter, some players may be strengthened by it. Once you hit that last chance point, things change, right? You just go into the different mode. It's like, what can I lose, right? Just keep going, just keep driving. Do everything I can. Instead of now where you may be theorizing and thinking about, maybe I should do this, do that. Oh, you know, somebody's ahead of me. All out of the window. All out of the window. Don't care. Unfortunately, though, Marsli with a crash right there will fall into 4th place, maybe losing another 10 points right there. So perhaps that's going to be the game plan for now, as Ender, Whizzy, and Pusztitopako side by side. None of them letting go of each other. Unless Pusztitopako just decides, nah, I'm just going to unlock all the speed. Bye, guys. Yeah, right back up into first position. Everybody close. Whizzy with a good amount of speed, but has to obviously let go of some of that there into the dirt. And it is Pusztitopako again in first place, extending that lead quite significantly now, over 20 points ahead of Ender. Massive difference there, and this has been such an important map for Pusztitopako. Not only getting, first off, probably a time that is going to stick in this series. Getting that extra point pretty much guaranteed at this point, because third map, doubt we're going to get back to the repeat of that one. But everybody else is really, really making moves in those standings. For Marsli, things are getting a little hairy now.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit scary now. Where again, that good start. These last couple of maps just haven't really dealt him any good hands. Hoping to see that he'll be able to perhaps rally and get a first place, maybe in, because 21 points. There's not a lot of room left to really let go of these points. Like even a couple of second places already feel a lot more substantial, right? From a percentage point of view, losing 4 points when you're at 100 is a totally different feeling than losing 4 points when you're at 21. Even though it's a second place finish. It's just getting ever closer and closer to that last chance will definitely make things just a tiny bit different, a tiny bit of a different feeling. So who knows, Maita maybe the plays, or Miyato even, where everything comes back together. The second chance comes in instead of the last chance, the second wind, if you will, because Marsli is definitely going to need it.
Yeah, for sure. For Marsli now, it is very much just drive fast. I need to get into the top 2 pretty much every single round now. Everybody else, as long as they see Marsli in the bottom 2, they don't really need to do too much other than just kind of drive safe. This is where the strategizing starts to come in. It's when somebody needs to make a decision. Over the course of the rest of the series, we've basically just seen everybody driving kind of their own pace. They're trying to go fast, but not, trying to stay in the game. Now somebody has to make a hard decision. Everybody else can start to strategize how fast they're going to drive every single round, how much they're going to risk into every single round. And I think that's really important in Division 1, especially because you are driving up against 3 people that are pretty much on the same kind of skill level as you. They, on a good day, are not going to make any mistakes. On a bad day, probably make a couple of bad mistakes, but mostly it's really just going to be about kind of tenths that they lose in certain turns. So now, Marsli really needs to push for everything.
Oh, fortunately, the dirt didn't really line up the way he is used to, but this is usually a spot where players do falter. This time around, though, nobody faltering, and Marsli actually slowing down quite a bit there. Perhaps not feeling as comfortable as he is on other parts of the track, but Ender actually starting to make way quite far. Whizzy with a great outside line there as well, able to overtake Pusztitopako. So with that, we've got Wumbo and Wild taking the lead as Pusztitopako and Marsli quite a ways behind. Very curious to see if Ender will be able to hold on to it and what match record he'll be able to set up for now, and will be the target for all these other players to perhaps get another point in. For now, it is Ender with 2 maps where he has the match record, Pusztitopako with 1, Whizzy with another 1. If you're curious about how do I know these numbers, they're at the top of your screen. Just look at those dots right there next to the points. Super duper easy. I couldn't have done it myself. I think it's this little thing called eCircuit Mania that's taking care of all these things. Pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. You can see the match records there as well. All of the times that are there to beat, especially in maps 1 and 2. That is definitely something that these players can look out for. Locking in a match record on this map, that gives you the point. We're not getting back to map 4. That is not happening. We're only going to see this one once, so it's important that you manage to get it on this one. 1 guaranteed point is actually quite... That's quite big in terms of the whole kind of overview of the season. In fact, because it is going to come down to the single points quite a lot of the time here in Division 1 especially. We're not going to see massive differences between the top players and the bottom players in this division. As Nua said earlier today, anybody can turn up on their day, and that's what we're seeing. Well, anybody can turn up on their round. That's the more important part here, because we've seen Ender and Pusztitopako really swapping back and forth here in first place, and you can see that in the scorelines. Whizzy has dropped back into 4th, really has not been having a great time in terms of consistency, but might stay up into 3rd place in the end of the map. Oh, what happened at the end for Whizzy? Didn't make the finish line. Pusztitopako has taken back that point from Ender there. Things are really shaping up to be very dramatic towards the end.
Definitely. It's been a very bit of an awkward round, if you will, for these players, right? Where one player maybe getting ahead a bit, it seems like the other one falters. It's only Pusztitopako who seems to be clean on it, manages to pick up the match record there as well with a 110.3 as well. And not only that, first place in the match as well, 47 points. Marsli, though, looking to be our first player to get into last chance. This already seeming to be the situation as we have been seeing these last couple of rounds unfold. But he doesn't look too comfortable on this track. It's been this turn in particular where he seems to fall behind quite a bit on the rest of his competitors. And yeah, it's a tough one. Whizzy with a mistake there will allow him to get in third place, but third place doesn't really do a lot for him. He's still going to be last chance mode.
Yeah, Pusztitopako and Ender really fighting for first position here. In every round it's been so far, definitely in this one. They both warmed up into the series really nicely, but Ender gets a little bit of a wobble and has to try and correct for it. Falls back into third place, but decent recovery. He gets back up into second there, only a few tenths down from Pusztitopako. It's probably not going to materialize for him in the last couple of checkpoints of the map, but either way, might just manage to get second there. A side jump just to make sure that he gets that one done. Pusztitopako extends that match record, looking to secure that point there, and also extends the lead in this series. Marsli, last chance now.
Yeah, and Whizzy also actually quite close to it. Perhaps if Marsli can be just in it for one more round, I think he may have a chance to perhaps eke out a third place, maybe even second place, but second place is going to be quite tough with Ender and Pusztitopako both still quite safe in terms of points, 35 for Ender, 47 for Pusztitopako. Yeah, it's just a tough race if you're a Marsli fan, if you're Marsli himself overall. But for now, he's staying in it. He does find himself in fourth place once again, but it is a tight race between all four of these players. Ender and Pusztitopako do seem to be fighting for first, but at the same time, Whizzy and Marsli are not letting go just yet.
Yeah, really up until map 3, it wasn't certain how this series would end up whatsoever, but now that we've got to map 4, two groups really have, or two duos really have kind of split apart on this one. Ender and Pusztitopako generally fighting for first and second, and Whizzy and Whizzy and Marsli fighting for scraps at the bottom there, and it looks like it is going to be a double last chance as Marsli staying with the pack up here in third position, and Whizzy down by 2 seconds. Looks like it's going to be a guaranteed 10-point loss unless somebody misses the finish line here. That's not likely. They all get it done. Ender trying his best to get that secure point. It's really been going back and forth between them. Every single thing, they're fighting over everything that they can. And now it's back in Ender's ballpark, but still less points than Pusztitopako. It's going to be double last chance when we get to our next map.
Yeah, and we're just going to go all the way back. That is 4 maps in the book, taken down. Returning back to Galifo is going to be map number 5, and while we do have our record, I believe, from Ender, I believe Ender had his 1 point there. That's going to be perhaps a little bit, it's going to be a challenge for now. While there is still a situation with Whizzy and Marsli right now, both in last chance, this is going to be their last chance. So not just to try and get as many points out of it as possible and perhaps knock the other one out, but also to try and get that match record and get that singular extra point in the bag. In the case of Marsli, he doesn't have any. In the case of Whizzy, he's got 1. So, could go either way.
Yeah, it really could, and I think this is the interesting part for me, is that really there wasn't a massive amount of confidence from any of the players. Obviously, first map in a series, sometimes it is just that you have to warm up into it, but I'm unsure whether we're going to end up with both of these two eliminated. Whizzy did have a bit of a difficult time here, but apart from that, everybody else was kind of similar on this one, so I'm not 100% certain that we're going to get rid of both of our last chance players before somebody else gets down towards that bottom 10 points here. Pusztitopako and Ender really have to watch their backs on this one.
Yeah, and I mean, last time around, right, Pusztitopako wasn't looking too comfortable on this track either, making a couple of mistakes, not really being able to win any rounds for that matter. So coming back into it, maybe he's warmed up, maybe he's now ready to actually show off what he is capable of on this track. But at the same time, this could be a bit of a boon for not just Ender, but also for Marsli and Whizzy, for who they really need some space. But Marsli, that's not the type of space I'm talking about.
Oh no. Yeah, that's pretty much the nail in the coffin for Marsli there.
Yeah.
I mean, no real storyline to talk about. Was the first to go down into last chance, held on until Whizzy got there, but that's about it. DNF, yeah, it's already done. Marsli is out of it there. So it looks like it really is just going to be Whizzy trying to hold on to this one. And Whizzy did not have a fun time on this map first time around. This round, looking pretty decent. Obviously not much to play for in this one, as we've already got our loser in this round, and therefore our first eliminated. But he looks more confident.
Yeah. I mean, right now, looking like great pace. Pusztitopako actually faltering a bit on the dirt right at the end. Perhaps Whizzy is on pace, because I'm not really... 104.6. Nah, I don't think he's going to beat Ender right there. But a 107.8... It's pretty dang close. Still, though, he's going to speed up a tiny bit more if he wants to pick up that match record from Ender and get another point in his pocket. At the same time, though, Ender losing 7 points right there. Pusztitopako 4. And this is the last time that no one will lose no points anymore, with 3 players just remaining. Points are slowly but surely going to count down.
Look, I'm not saying Ender lost 6 seconds on that one because there was a DNF in the round, but it could have been overtakeable for Marsli if he stayed in there. I don't know. Look, that's just a game theory. Got to take it over from MatPat since he's retired. Either way, now it really is just Ender and Pusztitopako trying to get rid of Whizzy first, and then it is a battle between the two of them. They want to secure that top 2 position in this one, and hopefully the first... the fastest lap in this one, try and take it back from one another. Currently Ender holding it with a 107.6, but that is, while difficult to overtake, possible to overtake. Whizzy doing a lot better this time, the consistency looking good, and it is Ender that's made the first mistake.
Yeah, it looks like Whizzy is, perhaps the situation is really sinking in, like the type of where, sure, we know we're in last chance, but do you, as a, while you're playing and driving through, actually realize this is where I really need to make it happen? And perhaps at this point in time, he's getting nerves of steel while Pusztitopako is trying to overtake, and he does make it happen eventually. Whizzy was looking like he was going to take it. It was simply that hourglass wall ride that things just didn't go as tightly as could have, right? Didn't find the line up. Wandered off a tiny bit to the left, and because of that, Pusztitopako actually overtaking. Still, though, Whizzy stays in it. No one takes the match record away from Ender. So for now, it's simply Ender losing the most points, and Whizzy trying to claw him into potentially pushing him into 3rd place.
Yeah, only 19 points left to go. That's not too many rounds, as long as you manage to stay ahead of that player. Although Ender has a tendency to be very fast, especially on this map. Very good time so far, but that's the trouble that being fast gets you, is sometimes you just hit a wall, and then you hit a wall, and then you hit a wall. Now he's in 3rd place by quite a long way.
You can't call players fast, all right?
Hey, look, here, I want drama. Whatever. Pusztitopako in first now, and really trying to extend that lead. If he gets both Whizzy and Ender into last chance, or whoever is left at the time, with more than 30 points, that is pretty much a guaranteed win, and it's very difficult to make that difference happen towards the end there. But Whizzy has moved up into 1st here. Any points he can take away from Pusztitopako make his life a little bit easier. Not that, he definitely needs it to be easier at the moment. On last chance, pushing Ender down further. That's a really nice result there for Whizzy. He's not going to get the max record. He's not going to get an extra point on that one, but he is going to push his contenders all the way down with him.
Yeah, and with that, Ender on 10 points. Max that can be lost is 9, so won't quite be in last chance mode just yet. Still, though, Whizzy is doing a phenomenal job of staying alive, staying in the game, keeping the pace high, keeping everybody honest, but still looking for that match record, right? He's been quite close to it, but at the same time, it's been phenomenal for him to, despite the fact that he has basically no points, he's 1 round away from being knocked out into 3rd place. He's still going for it. Will be behind for now for a tiny little bit, but I mean, knowing his dirt lines and the way he's been taking them so far, he could easily flip upside down, just like that.
Yeah. Although, for Whizzy, it doesn't matter if he doesn't manage to take down Ender all the way to 0 points at this point, because he was looking to be eliminated third anyway. However long you hold on, if you don't manage to get the job done at the end of the day, it is not enough, and he's down by 2/10 on this one already. Now needs to make up a lot of time towards the end of the map. We've only got one section of dirt left to go here, and it doesn't look like he's getting an overtake done on either of these players. It's going to have to be a mistake at the end of the map from one of them to give him that position back. It doesn't look like it's happening. Whizzy is going to have to settle for third position here. Doesn't quite get the job done, and in fact just makes Pusztitopako's life a little bit easier.
Yeah, and with that, Whizzy will be going out into third place. So that mano-y-mano, that head, that two-header. What's the word? I want to say head versus head, but that is not the word. Head-to-head. There you go. That was what I was looking for. I knew it was two heads. There were two heads in there somewhere.
Two heads involved.
Yeah,
lots of head.
Yeah, somehow, But in this head-to-head that we have left between Ender and Pusztitopako, Pusztitopako does have quite some leeway built up throughout the match in general. Still in the double digits, whereas Ender is pretty much close to being into last chance. I believe now, because we have two players, if he picks up 3 first places, he still ends up in last place, or 2.
I think he can afford. Yeah, I think Pusztitopako can afford another 3.
Yeah,
I think, to get down into the last chance, and then obviously after that it is just whoever wins. But yeah, this is now very important. Ender does have the quality to be able to do this, but Pusztitopako has been warming up into the series quite a lot. The first 2 maps for him were not amazing, made a lot of mistakes, but he seems to have cleared that up quite a bit. He was in first a lot of the time anyway. It's just that small mistakes made him drop down into 3rd and 4th in those first couple of maps, and then after that seemed to basically convert a lot of the position that he was in. Now just needs to get it over the line, but this is a difficult map to do that on. A lot of mistakes come through here for players.
Definitely. I mean, this meltdown in particular for Pusztitopako has been one where, I mean, he was the only one who, I suppose, had to take the safe finish between these 4 players during this match. But other than that, he has been able to get through the ice quite cleanly, together with Ender, in fact, as well. But I'm very curious to see if Ender will be able to, stop these incidental mistakes from happening, where a bit of an early mistake allows him to fall behind by about half a second. Regardless, though, this is the only point for Pusztitopako in terms of match record, so I'm very curious to see if he's to be able to defend it, as Ender may be the one behind at the moment. He could still throw a bit of a wrench into Pusztitopako's plans if he's able to pick up a match record.
It's a good start from Pusztitopako to get things going, and 1 win here drops Ender into last place. No, last chance, sorry. And I think actually it is 4 losses for Pusztitopako that will get him down, because he'll be on 1 point if he loses 3 times. So it's very important now that Ender brings out a good performance for this whole map. It needs to be for the whole map, and that's a good start. Small mistake from Pusztitopako gives Ender a massive, massive lead here. Just needs to convert it at this point. You know what would be the cherry on top? Take away that match record from him as well. There is a lot of time to be made up there from the division record. 2/10 the gap there, and it's definitely doable. Ender can make the comeback happen, but no matter what, he's going to be on last chance within 2 rounds here, so needs to keep getting that first place.
Yeah, and with that, Pusztitopako, dropping down another 8 points into 17. It's all up to Ender right now to just keep hammering away, keep chipping away. Despite him having a bit of an awkward start for round number 1, Pusztitopako's mistake was simply bigger, allowing himself to shoot his way into first place and hold on to it for pretty much the entirety of the round. This time, I think he'll be a lot more comfortable if he can just get the first half right, and this is looking a lot better this time around.
Yeah, this is the last chance, or the last time that Ender can make a mistake and it doesn't affect the outcome of the series. This is the only one now. No matter what happens at the end of this round, he's on last chance, so this is the one time he is allowed to make a mistake, but it looks like he may just come in first once again, as Pusztitopako already more than half a second down on this one. It's all up to this first ice section. We've seen a lot of mistakes come on through. Both players are going to get through unscathed. Ender just needs to hold on to that lead. Makes his life a lot easier if he gets first place in this round. Doesn't really change how difficult it is for him if he comes second, though. It is still going to be... It's just the difference between having to win 4 times, having to win an extra time at the end of this one. But it's looking good for Ender. Well out ahead into the final turn of the map. A little bit shaky there at the start, but it's a good lineup towards the finish line. And now for Ender, needs to keep winning.
Yeah, for now as well, Pusztitopako's time seemingly not being able to be touched by Ender. 109.0, still 2/10 away from Pusztitopako's best time so far. But 9 points for Pusztitopako. Last chance for Ender. Ender needs to repeat what he has been doing these past 2 rounds and just keep... he has to do it twice in a row, and that way we will be able to see the finale on Ruby. Will Ender be able to do it another time around? He's seemingly getting faster and faster right there, just navigating his way through the grass like it's nothing. A little bit of a stroll through the park, if you will. But Pusztitopako right behind, and where he has been faltering a tiny bit on this on this dirt section, this time around he doesn't look like he wants to let go, and he wants to overtake Ender. I mean, this is his chance to strike. He has 2 rounds to do so. We'll see if the ice will prove beneficial this time around.
Seems like they hold their positions in terms of time on the ice there, exiting with pretty much the exact same exit speed. Ender out ahead by just over a 10th now, and if maintaining this position is going to push Pusztitopako down to 1 point and increase the likelihood that we go to one more map and both players are on last chance. Ender staying out ahead, just needs to get to the finish line. This time around, it's a good lineup, he gets it done. That's one more of the 3 wins that he needs to get there.
It was so close as well to that match record. Look at that, just 0.03 of a second away. That could have been another point for Ender right there, just taken away. But for now, that is still a point for Pusztitopako. I know it seems like he doesn't have one, but it's his. Trust me, it's his. I know there's no point. There's 1 point. But there's no point. Yeah,
Type 1 in chat. Type 1 in chat.
Type 1 in chat, please. Thank you.
Ender now needs 2 victories in a row here. Pusztitopako just needs to get 1 to knock out his enemy here. I mean, it is just the storyline of a lifetime here in this final duo on this match. Ender down behind this time around, not by much. Half of a 10th here, and looks like he's getting a better exit out of the dirt. A better line slightly going into the ice here. See if anybody is able to make up a difference. It's so close between the 2 of them. It looks pretty much neck and neck outside of the ice. And slightly less exit speed, but with a better exit line is making up a slight bit of difference here. But it is neck and neck between the 2! Ender has clipped his wheel on the entry into the reactor booster, and he has lost out on half a second there. Obviously, the speed is equalized out, but Pusztitopako just needs to make the finish line here. Gets it over the line with 1 point to spare.
What a round to finish things off. Like, I was already hoping and praying, like, what if we get that final map in? But regardless, this is a phenomenal way to close out our final match of the day. What a fight between Ender and Pusztitopako. And while Ender did just a tremendous job of really turning things into his favor, unfortunately, there was just not enough time. There was not enough space. And it is Pusztitopako who picks up the win, but I believe Ender, because of his match records, equalizes Pusztitopako. No, Pusztitopako has 1 more. Why am I doing math live on stream? Stop me! Someone stop me!
Never do it. Someone stop it. Analyst desk, stop us right now. We're gonna throw over to the other 3 so that they can do the maths for us.
No, I don't think we will. I refuse, thank you very much. It's a nice offer, but absolutely not something that is going to happen. What a match! Oh my god. Down to a single point there at the end. Ender so close to making the comeback happen. But Pusztitopako, I mean, Coco, he built up the lead early in the match, and even when we got back to Meltdown, even when Ender was pushing on the map that Ender picked, wasn't quite able to make the comeback happen.
Yeah, Pusztitopako had an amazing start of the match where Ender struggled a bit, but yeah, what a fight from Ender. He was everyone pushing to the limits. Maybe he had too much of a difference of points. So yeah, round after round after round, it's really exhausting to push to like Ender did. But what a performance by Ender today! Twice second. He has, I think, 2 best lap map, two match records in this match. So he's gonna gather 8 points, and I think it's really good day from Ender.
Yeah, fantastic performance. Came in with very tough schedule ahead of him, including that first match. So to walk away as well with 2 second places, absolutely fantastic. And I mean, wasn't the only player fighting back from last chance in that match. I mean, Babs, Whizzy nearly did it as well. Held on for a while there in third. Oh, Babs, you're muted. Babs, Babs, I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm not a professional at this. There was a moment there, off stream that I was thinking Whizzy on Gallifrey was looking good, and he got a good few rounds on last chance where he still stayed alive. Was wondering how long he could keep it up. Unfortunately, it wasn't long enough, and shortly after that, Ender then put on a similar performance.
Yeah, and I do believe that we are lucky enough to not be joined by Pusztitopako for an interview this time around, but we will get Ender in. Ender, welcome. Congratulations on genuinely what was a fantastic day. 2 second places, a couple of fastest, map record points as well. Got to be feeling pretty good about how today went, right?
Yeah, for sure. You can say that. I'm pretty happy with how it went. I entered match 1 with the expectations of just ending up last. So being second for me just made me beyond happy. Yeah, just a great day overall, I think.
And I gotta tell you, just a peek behind the curtain here, we were genuinely so interested watching the end of that match that we forgot to prep any questions for you. So I'm going to throw the floor open to Babs and Coco. Whoever wants to ask a question of Ender, fire away.
Yeah, I think like any match in Division 1 is going to be difficult. You can get any pairing of players and it's going to be a difficult one. I think your day 1 particularly looked quite intense, but you come out of it in 6th position overall. How would you just rate your performance on day 1?
I'll separate it match by match. Match 1 was pretty good for my standards. I think I played pretty well. Minor mistakes, which works well with the reverse cup mode. Match 2, very crashy. I have to say I was very crashy in match 2. Which kind of lost me the match, unfortunately, because at the end it was so close. But nonetheless, it's a 2nd place, so I'm definitely going to take it and will be happy about it. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
What are the main changes? Like facing Bings, Barbos, and Epos on the same match, and not like slowest people, because there was like Pusztitopako and Whizzy and Marsli, which are fantastic players, but I feel like you told us it was a little bit crashier, like more crash. How did it feel in your mind? What's going on when you see players going less faster than previous match, and you see yourself crashing a little bit more?
When it comes to that, I have this wrong mindset. Subconsciously, I don't really do it on purpose, but whenever I play against really quick players, like my first match, I just think to myself, you cannot fuck up, you cannot make one mistake. They will be there to pick you up, even with the wrong lines or whatever. They're quick enough so that even if you don't make any mistake, you might end up last, which happened a few rounds in match 1. But when it comes to match 2, I just didn't feel any real pressure, or I wasn't shaky. My heart rate was quite stable compared to match 1 where it was like 150. So that did me wrong in the end, but I just ended up going into match 2 with less nerves, less expectations for pace, which ended up just making me crash and play worse. So I'll just try to keep the match 1 mindset for the rest of Beacon, I hope.
Yeah, it's completely fair. I mean, looking forward then to next week, next Saturday. You do have more matches, obviously, to come at this point. How are you feeling about that? I am desperately scrolling through trying to figure out. You're up against Boz, Azox, and Energies in your first match next week, and then it's Richie, Nico, Megorian. How are you feeling about those matches? I mean, nerves again. Are you leaning more towards them feeling like your first match today or your second match today?
Oh, I didn't know I was gonna play against Boz. That's kind of.
There's a lot of good players in Div 1. That's the problem. You go into any match, you're like, wait, there's really good players here. I thought I was past all of the really good players.
Oh. Well, to be fair, I think that match 1, today my first match, was probably going to be my hardest match of the league. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be my hardest match. But nonetheless, Azox, Boz, and... Sorry, who'd you say?
Azox, Boz, and Energies.
Damn, yeah, okay, that's... Yeah, I'll play like match 1. I got to. And this time I'll have 1 extra week of preparation on the maps. So I'll be there even more ready, I hope.
And match 2 as well. They, though. And they're going to have an extra week of prep too.
That's true. That's true. I didn't have much time to train this week for Beacon because I also had a Canyon comp to train. So I didn't come in as prepared as I would have liked, which is not an excuse. It's not an excuse, but when I get to 7, 8, 9 hours per map, I will be feeling way more confident on them, hopefully, than today.
And one last question I had for you. In terms of the maps and what you favor, what you might not like, how did you find the pick and ban sort of work today? Were you playing it tactically? Were you surprised what some people picked or banned? And how did it work out for you?
Honestly, I don't think too much about pick and ban. I know what I want to pick, but when it comes to what others ban, there isn't really much going through my mind because I think I already know most of the bans of my opponents. Now for the picks, it's obviously going to be which map are you the best on. So I don't think it's unexpected for anyone in any of your matches. They just know what map you're going to pick.
Yeah, that's fair enough. There is one very important question we do have to ask you before we let you go, Ender. Why are your curtains the Union Jack?
Oh, that. All right. Well, I've had those curtains since I was 10, 11 or something. Like 10 years ago. My mom bought these to me from like a. It's called like those shops don't exist anymore, but I know Coco is probably gonna know about them. Babu, I think.
Oh, even I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, like those are very cheap stores where you can get a lot of clothes for cheap. And she got me those curtains. Never asked why it was the Union Jack. Never changed in 10 years. So yeah, it's just there. I don't know why.
That's great. There's no reason, but listen, delighted. You have unfortunately changed nationalities. Production is on that. French flag gone. We have the British flag underneath now. Ender, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Anyone you want to shout out here at the end of the stream?
Well, thank you for the interview first and foremost, and thank you for organizing the cup. It's so far been a blast to play, and really looking forward to next week's matches. Good luck to everyone. And be prepared for next week.
You're on notice. Like everyone has to look out for that. We are going to throw to one last quick break. We will be back to discuss, well, how the day has gone, how Beacon World League as a day has gone, and what is yet to come. Don't go anywhere, and we'll see you shortly after this.